Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to discuss my South Korea trip. I spent 7 days in South Korea and I want to share with you how much the total trip cost. I want to share my experience with you and give you some first timers tips. If you guys haven't seen my South Korea vlog part 1 and part 2, make sure you watch it. A card will be at the top where you can click on it, and the 2 videos will be in my description box down below so you can take a look at it. If you love traveling like me but want to save money, then definitely check out my travel Instagram account. I created it recently and I share some pictures from my trips, some tips, cost transparency, and I inspire you to travel. So definitely go and check that out and follow me if you like to. Let's get started. So let's start off with flights. From Dallas to Seattle to Seoul, and then coming back Seoul to LA to Dallas cost $1,087 after using some credit card points. So for accommodations, when we landed in South Korea, we went to Seoul, stayed there one night, then traveled to Busan, so we had a hotel there, and then came back to Seoul. So we stayed at a total of 3 hotels, and my portion was $382.72 after using some credit card points. The food was amazing, so cheap and delicious. I spent a total of $111.55. So for transportation, we used the subway and Uber, and my portion was $60. Souvenir is $0. I did get a couple of magnets and a shot glass, but it was my birthday trip, so my husband paid for it. We paid for a total of 3 tours, not including going to this huge palace. I can't remember the name, but it's a very popular palace to go to in Seoul, and the entry fee was like 3,000 won per person. So I spent $224.50 on activities. So how much did I spend for a 7-day trip to South Korea? I spent a total of $1,865.77. My experience in South Korea was amazing. Usually when I travel, I only have like a week in each country, but I mean, I wish I had 2 weeks. It was an amazing trip. The food was amazing. I learned so much about South Korea. I went to different palaces. I had so much fun. It was one of the best birthdays ever. And I want to give you some tips if you're a first timer and want to visit. There's some things to know. Number 1 is, how are you going to be treated as a person of color when traveling, right? I talked about this in Japan, where I felt like I was a walking statue. A lot of people were staring at me, and the same thing happened in South Korea. And I thought it would be a little bit better since I didn't have the braids like I did in Japan, but no. People were staring at me, I mean, doing 360s. Now, I was starting to get annoyed. I saw people were about to do like a 360. I like walked really fast so they couldn't do like a double take. But despite the amount of people staring at me, people were so nice and friendly. Every time I went to a restaurant, they're like, thank you for coming, and everyone was just so nice. So you don't have to worry about that. You might get a lot of stares, you might get a lot of people staring at you, but no one is going to be rude. We didn't experience anyone being rude or disrespectful towards us, which is a good thing. So getting from the airport to like downtown Seoul and like Nampo-dong area, what do? Now you could take the subway, you could take a taxi, which I don't recommend, it's gonna be super expensive. We took a bus. It's called the airport limousine. The same thing that we did in Japan is the same thing that we did in Korea. We had 2 large checked-in bags. There's jet lag, we're sleepy, we're hungry. I was not about to figure out the subway system at 8 p.m. No. So after we went through immigration, we went downstairs and we saw like this ticket booth outside. I think it said like ticket information, or it said airport limousine ticket. We went there, we got a ticket from the airport to Seoul Station. It cost us $25 per person. Not too bad. Of course, subway would have been cheaper, but we were not going to deal with that. The bus came within 15 minutes and we were on our way to Seoul Station. It took 2 hours. But it was nice, you know, someone taking care of our luggage. We just sat and we just slept until it was Seoul Station. I think it's so much easier if you have like checked-in bags. And now if you have a carry-on bag and it's like during the day and you feel like taking the subway, then okay, you know, you can go ahead and do that. But something to know is that in order to use the subway, you need a TMoney card. Now, in order to fill up your TMoney card, you need cash. Now, at that point, we only had US dollars. We hadn't converted. We hadn't exchanged our money, so we couldn't even use the subway if we wanted to. So airport limousine was just so much easier. So the airport limousine was the way to go. You don't have to book online in advance. I'm telling you, these buses come very often. You don't have to worry about that. So let's talk about the TMoney cards. This one is mine, the pink one, and this is my husband's. These are so cute. But you'll need these cards in order to use the subway. Now, there's plenty of places that you can get them, I'm sure, but we got them from the convenience store 7-Eleven. So you have to pay for the card itself and then put money on the card. Now, a couple things to note. Like I said before, you can only fill up the TMoney card using cash. You cannot use your credit card or debit card. So make sure that you do have some won. And it's one per person. Don't try to cheat the system and get one TMoney card for 4 different people. No, it's one per person. Let me tell you how I know this. So we had 2 separate TMoney cards. Went on the train, was trying to exit. I reached in my pocket and I could not find my TMoney card. And I was so upset. I'm like, gosh, I just paid for this card. I just put 5,000 won on it, you know, whatever. Yeah, I couldn't find it. It slipped. I don't know what happened. So I was like, okay, I'm stuck. We have to exit. I don't know what to do. And I couldn't get an employee to help us. So I used my husband's TMoney card, swiped, and went through. I gave it back to him. He tried to swipe, and we got an error. And it wasn't a money issue. We had more than enough. It's just that I used the card for that transaction, I guess. So it just didn't work. So we were trying to figure out, like, oh my gosh, what do we do? What do we do? This lady, oh my gosh, she was so sweet. We didn't understand what she was saying, and she didn't understand what we were saying, but she was just trying to help us out. We finally got through. We had to ask people for help, but yeah, that's what happened. So you need one per person, and they make great souvenirs. Like, these are so cute. They're so cute. So yeah, you'll need TMoney cards if you want to use the subway. So for transportation, what did we do? So we used Uber. Uber does work. We used it a lot in Busan. And I mean, it was really cheap. Like, it was $3 here, $4 here, $5 there. Our transactions didn't exceed like $15, which is really great. So Uber does work. You can use that. You can also use the subway, of course. Subway is really easy to use. The words are in Korean, but there's also English words as well. And there's a lot of maps, there are signs, and there are a lot of tourist information centers. So you can go there, they speak English, and they can help you out. So for navigating, I recommend downloading the Naver map. Google Maps doesn't work well in South Korea, so I just recommend downloading that app. But this app is a little tricky. For instance, we were trying to figure out how to get to our hotel from Busan Station. And our hotel is called Ebony Central Busan. We copied and pasted that into the Naver Map app, and Ebony kept showing up. We're like, what is this? What is this? I'm like, okay, well, in the app, it's Ebony, but in Google, it's Ebony. I don't know, it's very strange. And then sometimes when we wanted to find something to eat, we looked it up on Google. We copy and paste the exact name into the app, but it wasn't showing up. Or maybe it would show up and there would be 4 different results, but the locations are different and they're in Korean. And mind you, we had already changed the language setting in that app to English, but some of it was in Korean still, so it was just a little tricky. What I recommend doing is, if you already know where you want to go ahead of time, if you already have like a planned out itinerary, look up the place that you want to go to on the app beforehand and just bookmark it and save it. So when you get there, it's already saved and you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it was definitely a little tricky navigating. Like, we had to stop a few times and like stand to the side to figure out, okay, like, how come this place is not showing up? I'm telling you, like, the names in Google, if you copy and paste them, some of them will not show up on here. I don't know, it's just very strange. Or like when you copy and paste an address, it just, you have to like backspace a little bit. Like, you got to type it out slowly, not copy and paste it. I don't know, it's very strange, but it's a little hard trying to figure out where to go. See, like this one, Maeodong Pizza, this is like one that we went to. And there were like several of them in Maeodong area. However, we wanted to go to a specific one that was near us, but the address was in Korean, so we couldn't match the address to the English address in Google. So It was a little tricky, but you know, we were able to make it. It's just, I don't know why the addresses or like some of the information is Korean, even though we've changed the setting to English. Like some of it is just still in Korean, but that's just something to note. So we did use the subway a lot. A lot of the places that we wanted to go to was not walkable. Like we would be in one place and then we would want to go to another place, and there was no walking directions whatsoever, or there were some walking directions, but it was going to take like an hour to walk. However, it was like a 10-minute subway ride, so we just went for the subway. Okay, so before the trip, I practiced a little bit of Korean. Like I wanted to learn how to say hello, goodbye, and thank you. And once I got there, I forgot. But that was okay because I really didn't have too many conversations with people. Some people speak English, a lot of people just do speak Korean. Ordering at restaurants wasn't too hard. I mean, you just kind of point to what you want and they get it. There was one particular restaurant, it was a local restaurant, a small one. She could not understand what I wanted, even though I pointed. I was like 1, and she kept saying 2, and I was like 1, and she was like 2, 2, and I was like, okay, I don't I don't know. We eventually got it together, and she came out with the food, and the food was really good. But most of the time, you could just point to what you want, and you're all good. And then there were some places where they had screens, like small little devices where you can order, and they would have like English options, so that was fine. But language wasn't too big of an issue. There were just a couple instances where like knowing Korean would have helped, like that ordering instance that I just talked to you about. And then that lady trying to help us exit the subway, I had no idea what she was saying. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty good. Now, mind you, we did go on 3 tours, so we had English-speaking tour guides. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found value in it. If you guys have any questions about my experience, then definitely let me know down below. If you want the links to the tours that I booked and my full itinerary, then look in the description box down below. Everything is there. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and consider subscribing if you haven't. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!